everybody, and welcome again to Mike's Hidden Histories. I'm here in County Sligo in the northwest of Ireland to tell you about not only about Ireland's most famous poet, but one of the major cultural figures of the 20th century. I'm talking, of course, about William Butler Yeats. And this is his final resting place here in the graveyard of Drumcliff in County Sligo. Now, William was born in 1865 in Sandymount in Dublin, and the family moved to London in 1867. And he received his earlier education in London and came back then to Ireland in 1884. And in 1885, his first poem was published. And then in the following year, a first book of poetry was published. He was already becoming an international figure and a renowned figure throughout the world. So he moved back to London, and a lot of his poetry was published then in both British and American magazines. So I'll leave it to yourselves to research and look at his poetry. I just want to give you a brief summation of his life. Now, the love of his life and the famous love story was with Maud Gonne, whom he met first in 1889. She was an English heiress and was very committed to nationalism in Ireland and to the creation of an independent Irish state. Now, he was infatuated with Maud Gonne, in fact, and he came over back from London to Dublin again in 1891 to propose to her, and she declined. He tried again in 1889, 1900, and each time she said no. And what she is reputed to have said was, you make beautiful poetry out of what you call your unhappiness and are happy in that. So this was not to be. He continued to be a major force in cultural life in Ireland. And with John Millington Synge, he opened the famous Abbey Theatre in Dublin in 1904. Now, moving on, Maud Gonne, for her part, married an Irish nationalist, Major John MacBride. And that marriage was in 1903, and he lasted 2 years. By 1905, it was over. Now, John MacBride, or Major MacBride, actually was one significant involvement in the 1916 rebellion in Dublin, and he was executed for his efforts in that regard. For his part, William Butler Yeats got married the following year in 1917 to Georgina Hyde Lees, and they had 2 children. In 1923, despite his lack of appreciation or understanding of politics in Ireland, he was appointed to the Irish Senate, the new Irish Senate in the new Irish Free State in 1923. In that year also, he won the Nobel Peace Prize for Literature and is renowned for having achieved that. Thereafter, he moved to Italy in 1928 in fact, and died in France in 1939, just before World War II. Now, he wanted to be buried here back in Sligo. His grandparents came from Sligo, and this was the place close to his heart. So in 1948, his body was brought back from France and was interred here in this humble grave here. And you can see the words he wanted for his headstone from one of his poems: "Cast a cold eye on life, on that horseman pass by." So that's the story of a great cultural figure of the 20th century. Now, briefly, just to conclude, he had a very famous brother as well, Jack B. Yeats, who was born in 1871 and died in 1957. He was a famous artist and an expressionist artist. He mainly dealt with landscapes and figures from the west of Ireland. He had been reared here by his grandparents, in fact, in County Sligo. And some of his paintings, a number of his paintings, are now selling for over €1 million. So look in your attic, you could be very lucky. So there's a famous family with associations with Sligo, the Yeats, William Butler Yeats and Jack Yeats. More from Mike's Hidden Histories next time.